Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Abia Fauzia from PBIB and my student ID number is 20400122043. Okay, now I will explain about the genesis of discourse analysis. Understanding the genesis of discourse analysis is essential because it reveals how the field emerged through linguistic advancements. Rooted in linguistic studies, discourse analysis evolved alongside traditional grammar, structuralism, and functionalism. These theories paved the way for analyzing language beyond isolated sentences. By studying its origins, we gain a deeper understanding of its development and applications in language teaching and research. Yes, I agree. Discourse analysis developed through linguistic theories like traditional grammar, structuralism, and functionalism. These theories expanded language study beyond sentences, shaping a discourse analysis focused on context and meaning. Without them, a discourse analysis wouldn't have its current structure. Traditional grammar theory is the study of word structure or morphology and sentence structure or syntax that emerged in the 18th and 16th centuries in Europe. Unlike modern linguistic grammar, it focuses on form rather than sound and meaning, analyzing how words and sentences are constructed. The core principle of traditional grammar theory is its perspective nature, which establishes a single language variety as the correct standard. It dictates that learners must strictly follow fixed grammatical rules, rejecting any variations, and in teaching this approach enforce rigid norms for pronunciation, word formation, and sentence structure, discouraging deviations. As Smith highlights, traditional grammar emphasizes strict rules while prohibiting alternative forms, limiting flexibility in language learning and use. Teachers apply this principle by adapting a perspective approach, enforcing strict grammatical rules and standardized language use. They focus on correct spelling, syntax, and socially accepted norms, guiding students on how language should be used. This approach led to extensive research on common learners' errors, culminating in the publication of grammar books and dictionaries. The primary objectives were to correct mistakes and enhance language proficiency, ultimately shaping the foundation of error analysis in language learning. The key product of traditional grammar theory is Murray's English grammar, which influenced English education for decades. Its strict rules standardized language use but also enforced a rigid perspective approach. While it provided structure, it ignored linguistic diversity, making language learning less adaptable to real-world use. Traditional grammar's biggest flaw is, is in the perspective approach and its strict focus on standardized rules, restricting learners to a fixed model of language. And this approach fails to develop their ability to engage with real linguistic diversity. Recognizing this weakness, linguistics propose a shift to descriptive grammar, which allows students to investigate language naturally, analyzing different dialects and real-life usage rather than just following imposed norms. The grammar translation method, or GTM, inspired by traditional grammar theory, prioritizes translation and grammatical accuracy over real communication. It views language as a fixed set of rules rather than a dynamic system used in context. And this approach, dominated by teacher instruction, restricts learners to passive roles, making language acquisition slow and impractical for real life use. While heavily criticized, GTM's shortcomings pushed linguists to develop more effective approaches like structuralism and functionalism, which emphasizes how language is actually used. Structuralism, introduced by Ferdinand de Saussure in Course in General Linguistics, views language as a system of interrelated signs rather than a fixed set of rules. He proposed that language consists of signs which generate speech, and each sign has a cipher, sound, or word, and a significant concept, and their relationship is arbitrary. Meaning, meaning words have no inherent meaning but are socially constructed. Saussure emphasizes a synchronic study of language, analyzing its structure at a given moment rather than its historical changes. This approach shifts linguistics from perspective grammar to a systematic study of language as a structured yet evolving system. However, its rigid focus on structure later led to functionalist and pragmatic approaches that consider meaning and communication. Structuralism prioritizes spoken over written language and takes a descriptive approach, encouraging learners to discover implicit language rules. It views language as a unified system requiring imitation for skill development. This theory influenced language teaching, leading to the audio-lingual method, and however, its emphasis on structure and repetition overlook meaning and communication, later addressed by um, functionalist approaches. The informant method, rooted in structuralism, was introduced by Bloomfield and later adapted into the audiolingual method. It relies on native speakers or informants as sources of authentic phrases and structures, while linguists, who may not know the target language, analyzes and facilitates learning. This method emphasizes imitation and guided conversation to develop fluency. However, while effective in reinforcing structural patterns, it overlooks the importance of meaning, interaction, and cultural context, making it less adaptable to real world communication needs. Prioritizes spoken language over perspective rules, emphasizes repetition and drilling for language mastery. Students mimic and practice said phrases repeatedly. Teachers' speech serves as the primary model. Lacks, lacks focus on spontaneous and creative language use can lead to mechanical learning rather than real communication skills. A key weakness of this theory is its limited focus on cultural aspects in language learning. While it recognizes culture as an essential part of language, the teaching approach prioritizes linguistic structures over cultural understanding. As a result, cultural elements are only indirectly incorporated rather than being explicitly addressed, which can hinder learners from fully grasping the social and contextual nuances of the target language. Error analysis in structuralism focuses on preventing learners from forming incorrect language habits. Mistakes are seen as obstacles that must be corrected immediately to avoid fossilization. During this era, error analysis helped teachers identify common errors and refine learners' accuracy. prioritizing correct language structures over understanding the cognitive process behind mistakes. Functionalism arose in the 1917 as a response to structuralism. Chomsky rejected the idea that language is learned through habit formation, arguing instead that humans have an innate linguistic competence that enables them to generate and understand language creatively. Chomsky defines linguistics competence as an innate ability to generate grammatically correct sentences, emphasizing structure over usage. Hans, however, argues that language competence extends beyond grammar to include social and cultural understanding. He critiques Chomsky's view as insufficient, asserting that effective communication requires more than just grammatical accuracy. The core principle of this theory is the concept of communicative competence, as introduced by Cannell and Swain. They outline four essential components. The first is grammatical competence, mastery of linguistic structures, including phonology, morphology, syntax, and vocabulary. And the second is sociolinguistics competence, awareness of how language varies based on social context, rules, and cultural norms. And the third is discourse competence, ability to construct and interpret connected speech or written text with coherence and cohesion. And the fourth is strategic competence, use of communication strategies to handle breakdowns, maintain interactions, and enhance understanding. And this framework extends Chomsky's concept of linguistic competence by incorporating the practical and social dimensions of language use. The communicative language teaching or CLT method was developed as a response to the limitation of structuralist approaches, aligning closely with functionalism theory. It emphasizes language use in real life communication rather than just mastering grammatical structures. As a result, um, CLT embodies functionalism by treating language as a dynamic tool for communication rather than a rigid system of rules. Functionalism theory and discourse analysis are linked through their focus on language as a tool for communication, while functionalism emphasizes the role of language in conveying meaning. Discourse analysis investigates how language is used in real life contexts to achieve specific communicative goals. Functionalism provides the theoretical basis for discourse analysis by highlighting the interaction between language context, and social function in communication. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.